morning, everybody. Thank you for being here on this busy Sunday morning. I know everyone has full schedules, so I really appreciate everybody taking the time to come out and join us today for our second community seminar. Bob Turner joins us this morning. We couldn't be happier to have Bob with us today. Bob comes to the table today with some really interesting, engaging, relatable topics about mental mindset, whether that's involving injury recovery or business or personal stuff. We've all been affected, I think, by mental impacts of how do we get through this adversity that we're experiencing now. And so these are always conversations that we try to bring to the table here at H2O that can't always address in the doctor's office, but they're important conversations to be had. So we welcome Bob today. Thank you all for being here.
Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it. Wow. Don't clap yet. If you guys don't have a good time, I'll give you your money back. Kidding. Aaron, thank you. Just want to take a second. These two girls over here, Aaron and Stacy, they're the best. Back in end of 2011, Stacy said to me, "You should come to Arizona with us." So we went to Arizona and we rode bikes for a week. And then I was able to take that experience and bring, 15 triathletes a year to Arizona to ride hills. And so many people had a great experience just because you guys took a chance and said, "Hey, come with us, it'll be a good time." So thank you. Thanks for having me here today. You guys may not believe it because I'm just so smooth. This is my first public speaking experience, but we're gonna have a good time. Hopefully share a few nuggets with you about mindset, mental toughness, share some stories. I'm a storyteller. I know you all want to sit here and listen to how awesome an Ironman I am and how much I think of myself and all that, but you're not going to hear that. You are going to hear some Ironman stories, but only as it relates to mental toughness and getting through adversity. So with that, I just wanted to say, like Aaron said, I think it's great we're doing this because nothing's going on in the world right now. Gas prices are low, right? Everybody loves each other politically, right? Half of us hate the president, half of us love him. Who cares? I turned off the news a year and a half ago. I'm not doing it. Just not doing it. I can't do it. I got all I can handle right here, just walking the face of the earth. So the whole southern part of the eastern seaboard could burn flat and I wouldn't know it for about 24 hours because I just don't turn stuff on. Social media, yeah, that's a different thing. But so I'd be lying if I said I put this presentation together by myself, had some help with this part of it. I had the basic structure, but I had some help from a good friend of mine organizing it. So anyway, Aaron, I couldn't come here, not put this up. So I'm busting out of that shirt. Holy, whew. I looked at that this morning. I go, but I came over here a couple months back and did a podcast with Aaron, and it was great. We talked all about H2O Fitness, and that's one of the things that I've started doing this year is it's called Ordinary People Doing Extraordinary Things. So we grab somebody that's doing cool stuff or that's dealt with some adversity or had some trouble and just sit down and talk for an hour. And it's been fun. And I was telling Heather, most podcasts fail after 7 episodes, and we've done 19. My goal was to do one a week. We haven't hit that. We've kind of pulled back to one a month because we have to do, I own a contracting and renovation business, so that's how I pay the bills. So the guys get mad at me if they need 2x4s on the job site, and I'm over here with Aaron going, "Hey, so what do you think?" But anyway, that's been fun, and it's just been a way for me to do stuff like this, because this is part of me, and this is kind of what I want to do. I have fun with it. I like being in front of people. I DJ'd for 22 years. DJ'd weddings, did karaoke and country line dance and all that crap. And so I'm no stranger to being on a microphone, a little bit stranger to being in front of a camera, so bear with me on that. Who I am, I'm Bailey's dad. So, and she's here. This is my daughter. She's in from Texas for the weekend, and anyway, didn't expect that to go that way. I'll look at the screen for a minute. I own Turner Builders. We do renovations, construction, additions, 5 employees, 6 of us total. I'm a podcaster, I guess. So we're having fun with that. And I'll say that I am a triathlete, although I haven't done anything since 2019 when we did Ironman Tremblant. And that was my slowest one of 6. So I did it, and I was injured, and so kind of taking a break from that. And right now, kind of life's my Ironman, you know, and my business is my Ironman, and I'm really pouring myself into that, and it's starting to show. So although I do need to run and eat right and get back to the things that I always did. So why we're here, mindset and mental toughness. So take a look at these definitions, you know. I mean, I pulled that off the internet, of course, you know. Established set of attitudes held by someone, a person's way of thinking, and what opinions they hold. You guys can read that on your own, but I kind of combine these two things, and that's kind of how I roll. The state of being strong enough to withstand adverse conditions or rough handling. What have you had happen in your life where you've had that moment where you've had to say, all right, well, I'm either going to roll over and give up, or I'm going to double down, I'm going to dig in and figure this out. So those are kind of a couple of definitions that I thought were applicable to this, and I thought I'd share them. So I wanted to talk about mental and physical strength. So you get that stuff. It comes from somewhere, right? It comes from external, right? Your mother, your father, brother, sister say, yeah, you can do this. Your dad saying you can do anything you want. Internal models, like how you're wired. Like maybe you're not super confident. Maybe you're have low self-esteem. Maybe you have body image issues. Maybe you know, maybe you're super confident in a tool bag. Nobody likes to be around. There's that too. I mean, really, you know, that's internal stuff. Life experiences. Right? I've raced multiple triathlons with my friend Jared here, and every time we hate each other end line to end line. Done. Don't even like you. At the end, we'll share a beer and talk about who won, right? And we've had some good times, right? He beats me, I beat him. He probably beat me right now. But the things that you've been through, like, you know, and no joke, I mean, that's all the fun stuff, but probably in this room somebody's dealing with a parent with cancer. Probably somebody lost a relative this year. Probably somebody's 24-year-old daughter moved to Dallas, Texas on them, but comes back now and then. So all the life experiences you go through help develop that mental and physical strength, okay? So I've been doing a lot of work, like personal development stuff this year, and really focusing on limited beliefs. And one of them that I realized was that, and I don't know where it came from, was that in business, I kind of always felt like I was only supposed to do so good. Like I'd do really well, make great money on a job, and then somehow jettison the money. And then look at my checking account and go, oh, shoot, I shouldn't have done that. And then sometimes in sport even, I found that I was a really good loser. And that was kind of odd, because I had never really won anything. Like went through high school as an average athlete, always played ball, played 3 sports, whatever. But we never really that good. You know, so I don't know where that all came from, or whether it came from how I was brought up. I don't think it did. My parents were very positive, very reinforcing. Were at every game that I went to. Didn't have a bad childhood, but seemed to have this limited belief where there was this ceiling. So that's what I've been working on busting through. Some of that stuff comes from repeated messages from others, near misses and failures, focusing on problem-saturated narrative, and barriers and obstacles. We'll talk about each one of those for a second. So, who's this little kid? This little prick lives in my head, okay? That guy, he's right there all the time. So I don't know how old I was there, but that was at my grandmother's house. But he's always there, and he's saying, why do you want to do that? And he can be anybody, right? He can be the person at work where you went out and ran 10 at lunch, or you did something on the weekend, and you came in, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Why are you pushing yourself? Because I want to. Like, I remember sometimes I would go up to camp. My dad would get frustrated because he's, geez, you always got to put a bunch of miles on up here. Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm training for an Ironman. It's important to me. I'm committed to it. I want to do it. That's why I'm doing it. You know, why take on the stress and do all that stuff? Why do I own my own business? Any business owners here? No, there's 1, 2, 3. Why do you do it, right? Isn't it easier just to go zzz, zzz, leave it there on Friday afternoon? Something makes us tick where we want to do more. It doesn't mean it's bad if you don't, but I would ask you, there's probably somebody in this room that's thought about opening their own business, thought about having a side hustle, doing something different so that someone else doesn't control what you make all the time. none of us, I don't see any, you're the youngest one here, but I'm 53, and I think we're all about, 35 or above, and it's not too late to do something if you want to do it. You can always change what you want to do. And you'll see in a minute, I've made a bunch of changes. So, near misses and failures. Take a look at this. This is kind of an interesting slide. That's me at our camp when we expanded that in '08, but take a look at those two columns. If you look at this one over here, it looks pretty positive. Look over there, you go, wow, that guy's a total loser. So I worked at a millwork company when I was younger, and the guy put me in charge of the shop. He said, I want to go from 2.5 million to 5 million in 2 years. I said, okay. I added one guy in the shop, and we were at 5 million in 2 years. Then he sold the company. We were talking about an equity position for me. I made it, right? He sold the company. I opened Turner Contracting and Remodeling, and I had a countertop business. We did, in 18 months, I was doing $1 million annualized. Found out we were undercapitalized. Had to close it, go home and tell my wife, we got to refinance the house. Sold all the equipment, wrote a check for 28 grand, and didn't know what I was going to do. Went back to work for a company for a year. Then I opened Turner Contracting and Remodeling and did 1.3 million in year 3 with my dad. He did the books, I did the field, ran the guys. Did that for 13 years, and I was just tired. Couldn't find people. Subcontractors are terrible. Everybody sucks. I was being whiny, so I went to work for a local home builder and worked for 3 years there, and they didn't offer renovation work. So I built their renovation company, their arm, to over $2 million in less than 3 years and left because I hated it. Didn't like them. We weren't aligned well. So there I was at the end of 2020. So what am I going to do? I don't like this. This is what I've done for 15, 16 years. So I started Turner Builders. And I thought, well, I think I can do $1 million. I think I can do $1 million. We got some pretty good sized jobs. We did 1.6. And this year, we'll do over 2 million. To date, well, not to date, through Q2, quarter 2, we had done $1.2 million, zero net profit. Goose egg. Goose egg. I got paid. Everybody got paid. No retained earnings. Should I quit? That's today. That's right now, today. Should I quit? I'm not going to quit. Just signed 3 projects that all have a total of $185,000 worth of net profit in it. If we do it halfway right, I'll have 100 grand in my checking account at the end of the year. And I was on the mat, $4,000 in the checking account on the end of June, going, what are you doing? I know how to do this shit. What's happening here? Down and out. Fought my way back, and now we're going like this, right? That doesn't mean that there won't be this on the way back to the top. It's lonely at the top, but you eat better, by the way. People think the trajectory for success is like this, and it really isn't. It's like this, and then it goes down here for a while. Then you're getting kicked. And that can be at work or personal too, guys. I mean, it's not, I put contacts in this morning so I could see that. Work, personal, play, sport, whatever. Whether it's your kids doing tough stuff or going through something, a parent that's aging that you're trying to help, and then you realize really life does come full circle. They take care of you for the first bunch of years, and then you're taking care of them for the next bunch of years. So I thought this was an interesting illustration of, like I said, if you just focused on that side, pretty negative. If you look over there, shit, that's a guy I want on my team, probably, right? He doesn't give up. Maybe he doesn't know what he wants to do, but pretty interesting. So the problem-saturated narrative, right? So I took a DISC assessment a while back, and I couldn't wait to look at it, right? So I want to see what I suck at, right? Like, this is gonna be great. I know I suck at details. I don't do that well. I like this stuff over here. This is cool. This is fun. Start a new business, So I took it, and they say you have a D, I, S, and C. So the D is dominance, I is influence. That's where I was, off the charts over here, right? S and C are steady and compliant. Okay, the numbers people, the details people, all right? So I found that my strength was, I'm that Stacy will tell you, I'm the gatherer of people guy. Hey, let's go ride our bikes 100 miles. So let's go climb a mountain. That's me. So I play to those strengths now, rather than on the business side, if I'm not a detail guy, why don't I just hire a bookkeeper, right? Like, I hate QuickBooks. I'm not going to be good at it, ever. Don't like it, can't make me do it. My dad had to put my head in the book, and, you will read this book. I didn't want to read that book. I didn't want to go to school. I hated it. School sucked. So being transparent and real. Like, this is me. I want to inspire people. I want people to say, I didn't give up because of you. I went to a convention last week. I'm involved in a contractor group. It's called the Contractor Fight. I couldn't walk down through the hallway in the hotel without somebody grabbing me and saying, hey, because of how you act on the Facebook group and your comments and the time you took to talk to me, I didn't quit. I kept going. I had 37 cents in my checking account, and I talked with you, and I kept going. I went out and I got that next job, and I dealt with that tough customer. So that made me feel good. I enjoyed that, and I got a lot out of that. So part of being in that group and part of you guys being here today is be around people that lift you up, right? You're the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. Take a second, think about who those people are. I know you hang out with these guys over here, right? Right, there's 2. You got 2 good ones. But I started looking at that a year ago, and I was like, I started moving away from some people, whether they were related to me or not. Started moving away from some people because I didn't have the bandwidth anymore to deal with their stuff. People will just come and vomit all over you. They feel better. It's like being a hairdresser, right? I don't know how they do it, right? All day long, everybody just dumping their problems on them. They must have to just go home and just shake off. But when I started to realize, I didn't call somebody and say, I'm not hanging out with you anymore. You're not aligned with my personal beliefs and my core values. We're done. I just said, I'm busy. I got something going. I'm over here. I'm going to Denver to work on, my contracting business, or I'm gonna go for a walk today, which is hard, by the way, because these guys, we go out and run, right? I don't want to lace up my sneakers for a walk. Who walks? So it's a mind shift, right? Like, I got a bad back, my heel hurts. Every time I see you guys, my heel hurts, this and that. I'm 205, not 175. I should just quit. Fuck it. Throw in the towel, quit. No, we don't do that. We don't quit, right, Bailey? So speaking of not quitting, barriers and obstacles. So I talked about injury, right? Everybody's dealt with it. Many of you have been here and Aaron's helped you. You could have financial hardship. We don't all have it figured out. We're not accountants, right? We make mistakes. Family transitions, whether it's divorce or somebody moving away or relocating altogether, anything. Somebody being elderly, needing help. Maybe you don't have a good support system. Or maybe you're not a good support system, okay? Where, you have a business or you have a job. It requires a tremendous amount of your own commitment, and your husband or your wife is just not with you on it. That can be stressful, and it's worth a tough conversation. Head trash. Talk a lot about head trash. I've talked a lot about head trash this last year. Like I said, limiting beliefs, right? You're going into a race. We've had a lot of friends that we've raced with, and some are, before the race, they're like, I'm going to win this race. Versus this person, I suck. I don't know. I don't think I'll hit my goal. Which person do you want to be around? Right? And they all trained the same, right? They're out there training. I'll ask them, they're like, I'm terrible. I'm going to suck today. Why'd you train? You must think you're all right at it, right? So try to get rid of the head trash. And I'll talk a little bit about visualization in a bit, but I want to tell a quick story. That picture looks pretty good, huh? Cool guy walking with a bike in the rain. That was in Orono. I had to go all the way to Orono to win a triathlon. Okay, never, it was less than 100 people, right? And I was feeding Jared snacks the day before. Eat these candy bars, because I knew I was going to race them next day, right? So I'm out there, right? So I see the leader, and I'm on my tri-bike, super cool, going like hell, catch the guy on the bike, just get by him, front tire blows. And I won't tell you the word I said. I had a GoPro camera on my bike that day. I still have the video. So I'm like, well, shit, in a sprint, you take all that stuff off your bike. I don't bring a spare. Like I'm going to win this race, right? I don't want any other weight on the bike. So I start walking. So I'm walking, everybody like, bye. Had this race won. The year before I had to win it on the run. I'm not a runner. So, the bike's my strongest. So here I am, done, right? So I'm walking back. I'm just look at the look on my face. I'm smiling. I'm on the right side of the grass. I'm racing a triathlon. Things didn't go my way today. I didn't pout. I suck. Didn't handle it that way. I smiled, came back. Because people are watching, right? She was at a lot of my races. How do I want to show up in front of my daughter, right? I don't want to come back and be all pissed off and be mad and be a victim. It was a good day. Didn't win. Should have. So this is a photo somebody took of me. I don't even think it might have been at a race, but this picture is on my phone, and that's my screensaver on my phone. You might be like, what a tool. He has a picture of himself on his phone, but really what it says to me, that's my game face, okay? That's how I want to attack every day, and that's why it's on my phone, because it reminds me, do the details, send the invoices, collect the money, schedule the guys, do the big boy stuff, Bob. That's not fun, but it also says to me that right there, we're about to get it on, and I'm coming after you. And that's how I want to live, okay? And Jared will tell you this, that like I said, when we're racing, we're not friends. We're not friends. I'm going for it. Afterwards, it's fine. We'll chat and commiserate. But things do get tough. And that's when you have these, I call them moments of truth, right? You've had times when you're down, you get kicked in the shins, and you can decide. So this is a half Ironman in New Hampshire, Timberman, like 2010, right? Tough day, going at it, running hard. Probably wasn't in the best shape of my life, but so there's like 200 yards, shoots on both sides, maybe 1,000 people screaming for you to finish and do well, right? And here comes Francois from Canada. I'll call him Francois, but I think it is actually. Can't tell. So I come in, and now we're gonna do we gotta really finish hard, right? And here he comes. I'm like, oh, this is not good. This is not good, because I do not want to be trimmed up at the finish line, right? So off we go, and we're stride for stride. And at the finish line, I went into a full dive. This is after racing for 5 hours, all right? And so I had a chance to, and my point here is that I could have said, yeah, it's been good. We raced pretty good today. No big deal if Francois' name is above mine in the results. But it does matter. It did matter to me. It matters in business. It matters on the triathlon course. It matters in my personal relationships and how I show up for people. And if they need me and they call me and my day is booked solid and they call me, hey, Bob, do you have? Yeah, I do. What do you need? What do you need? So there's me laying at the feet of the world champion, female world champion triathlete, Chrissy Wellington. She reaches down, goes, puts the medal on my neck. I didn't put I do have a picture afterwards with her. Had to get that. I think you were there for that. That was a mess. But those people that were on the sidelines have been there for 4 or 5 hours. Why not give them what they came to see, right? And I'm not, we're not pros at this. We're just, age grouper guys that have a 9 to 5, and we're going hard on the weekend. But it made me think, as I was coming down through the chute, do I have any more, right? If you guys are familiar with David Goggins, he'll say, no matter how hard you push yourself, you're only at 40%. Think about that for a minute, right? So you're coming down through the last bit of it, and you're like, I have nothing left. Yeah, you do. You do. You just don't know it. Again, business, personal, sport, whatever. You have more to give. How badly do you want it? I wanted it more than Francois. Turns out he was in the other age group. Who knew? But, and I think he was a little older, but made for a good story. So here's another one. So, I look at toughness, mental toughness, mindset. It's like it's a life requirement. We have it or we're going to get it by way of internal or external influences, right? You're going to get it by way of what you go through, right? Everybody's been through something. Everybody's going through something. This path called life is crazy. None of us are getting out of here alive, so you might as well make the best of it while you're here, right? So I talk a lot about the internal narrative, self-talk, right? There's some people I can't be around at the beginning of a race because they're just a stress ball and negative. I'm focused. We show up. We know what's going on. We're serious about what we're doing. Again, business, personal life. Take it seriously, If you change that internal narrative from, let me see. I always say we get more of what we focus on, right? So if we focus on, oh, Jace, yeah, there's Kurt, he's fast. There's Jared, he showed up today. Oh, crap. I'm best case third, versus I'm going to win today. If I don't, they're going to know they got my best, every bit of it. Same thing in business, where I go at jobs, we show up, I deal with subcontractors, I say, I'm goal-oriented, what are we going to get done today? Let's just not lollygag through life. Visualization. I invented this. When I was out on my runs one day, I invented visualization. I think it was when I was training for my first Ironman. I was like, what's it going to be like crossing the line? Lake Placid, 06, this is going to be pretty cool, right? So I was out for a run, and I'm thinking about it every step, planning every step of the race, and I get goosebumps. I'm like, I don't know how many people can do that. It must be a superpower. So, but I use that so that when I'm in the race, I'm seeing, I've already been there, right? So like, yeah, we've been doing it. Today is just graduation day. Today's the day we execute. And again, whether you plan that in life, whether you're doing a big event, whether you're giving a talk to some people on a Sunday, you prepare, get ready for it, see it happening. I saw this talk happen yesterday. I had it on the way here. It takes 4 thunderstrucks to get here, by the way, from Wyndham. Set it. I'm saying, it's a little disappointing we didn't have walk-up music. Next time. Next time. You know I'm a thunderstruck guy. So, but setting goals, and every once in a while I'll jump in and work with the guys on the job site. Last week we went over and did demo in Falmouth, pulling drywall off. But I said to Zach, what are we going to get done today? Where do we want to be at the end of the day, right? It was 2:30. Well, we swept up, and that's a pretty good day, right? He said, yeah, he's 24, young guy. I said, well, I'm going to take the trailer and dump it. We're going to come back, and while I'm gone, you're going to rip out that wall and the stair carpet and all this. We'll load it. We'll be out of here by 3, and I'll pay you till 4. How does that sound? He goes, that sounds pretty good. I go, let's do it. So we went from having an okay day to having a great day, right? There's a difference. What do you want to have for a day? Use past failures to fuel your fire. So I'm a storyteller. I got to tell a story. Lake Placid, 08. May 1st, on the job site, stepped on a nail. Went right up through the ball of my foot, the joint. Had a bone scan, all that. So I'm limping around. I think I had to bag out of a bike ride I was on with you guys the next day, if I remember right. Rode home with one leg. Couldn't do it. So the race is in July. So I got the foot put back together. Well, I knew it wasn't going to be a tremendous day, but it was my second Ironman. And the first one Bailey came to. And so I woke up in the morning of the race, sick as a dog. I'll spare you the details, but sick as a dog. Couldn't be any sicker. Crawled into the bathroom, crawled back out of the bathroom. I remember grabbing my wife's foot in the bed going, got to get up, something's wrong. It's race day. It's race day. You're supposed to wake up at 4:30, eat your oatmeal, eat this, drink that, electrolytes, do that, go to the bathroom again, do that, go to the bathroom again, check, see if you have your goggles, all that stuff. That's what I was supposed to be doing. Instead, I was sitting there just dumbfounded on the side of the bed trying to eat a bagel and put some fluids in me. And I was sitting there trying to get my stuff together quietly. So I'm not giving up yet, right? So my wife says, what are you doing? I go, I'm just going to go down. I'm just going to go down, and see. I might feel better in the next hour. I had 102 temp. So, it could have happened, right? It could have felt better. So I went down there, and my coach at the time, Rob Smith, took one look at me. He says, "You look terrible. You look awful." I said, "Thanks. Appreciate that." He zipped my wetsuit. So, and that was back when in Ironman, they've changed it now. Everybody kind of goes in the water in a line, right? What do they call it? Time trial starter, wave starts. But back then, there was this cable in the water, right? Stuff hanging out. And they had a cannon. Boom! Everybody starts at the same time, and it's a free-for-all, right? And I had really worked hard on my swimming that year. So I was just above average. So I get out there. I'm going to get out on these guys. So I'm in the water, 102 temp, in an Ironman, 2,800 people in the water. What am I doing, right? Gun goes off, we start. So I get down to the end, it's whatever. You go down and back, it's 2.4 miles. So I'm coming out of the water, and the volunteer says to me, "Are you okay?" I said, "No, I don't feel that well." She goes, "Okay, well, you going to quit?" I go, "No, I'm not going to quit." So in Lake Placid, you walk out of the water for your second loop, walk over by the dock, then you walk back. So here I am, one lap to go, and a whole bunch of other shit to do today, right? And I look at the crowd, and it's just going nuts. Everything across this whole cove, right? Mirror Lake. Took my goggles off. Shit. No. Boom, back in the water, okay? Lap 2. I don't know what the temp was then. I get going. I maybe made it 100 yards. And before I knew that this was not going to be the day that I wanted to have. And got about halfway down. I'm out on the right, so I don't screw anybody up. And my goggles were leaking. They weren't leaking. I was crying. And it's like, you put a year into that, you know? That's tough. Take a tough pill to swallow, right? Family's there. Mom's home watching on the computer. I'll tell you more about that in a second. Just watching on the computer, and I'm like, a whole bunch of people, friends. I had 10, 20 friends out there that were doing it. I'm like, shit, total letdown. So I just limped it. I mean, I was swimming like this, came back in, see the same lady, right? She's like, "You're back." I go, "Yeah." "Are you okay?" I said, "No, I'm not okay." "You sick?" "I'm sick. I can't continue." And she's like, "Oh, hey." I go, No, I'm fine. She goes, "I'm going to need that chip." I go, "You know, Beth, right? You wear the chip on your ankle, and you don't want to lose that." So I go, hand my chip, and I'm out of an Ironman. So I start walking. Anybody know what wetsuit strippers are? It's not what you think. Okay? So you take your wetsuit down to your waist, right? You lay down on the ground, and then some big guy goes, rips it right off you and hopes you don't take your shorts with you. So I didn't need my wetsuit stripped. I was just walking in my wetsuit, pissed off. And I walked by the wetsuit strippers, and here comes this big corn-fed guy, and he goes, whoosh, whoosh, right? And he goes around my head, whack! And I go, I know 1,000 people saw that, right? So I'm like, this day can't get any worse. So then I'm walking, I can't get out of the chute. You can't leave, right? So boom, everybody's running by, boom. So all I kept feeling, I'm like, I just want to get out of here. Finally, get me out of here. So I get down, I look up, and I see Bailey and my wife, and finally, I had to walk all the way back to transition. I hopped the fence, walked back, and she came running up to me and gave me a big hug, and I said, "Remember when I told you don't expect life to be fair?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "This is what I mean." Went back to the hotel, felt better over the course of the day, checked on my friends. Came back down and watched all of them cross the finish line. Felt good enough to do that. But that was a day that there was more going on than me doing an Ironman. I wanted her to see what kind of guy I was. And I think I did that. Went back in 2011 and tore off an 11:45. Went back in 2013 and did my best one in 10:45, and did another one at 10:37. So you want to talk about a guy racing angry. I was pissed. But I did. I took it to another level, and I used that failure, bad experience, as fuel for my fire. And I went back and shredded that course and loved every minute of it. I ran a 3:40 marathon Most people can't run a 4-hour marathon. I did a 3:40 and an Ironman. You're not looking at runner guy here, okay? Not built for that. So there's a lot of heart and soul in that. So there's a lot of fire. I set some goals and I carried it out. I talked a little bit before about that internal narrative. Why the negative self-talk? You know, did somebody tell you that you weren't good enough? Somebody tell you that you couldn't do something? I had somebody tell me, you're not, nice 5K, but you'll never be a runner. Never be a runner. I've done 9 marathons. 6 of them have been in an Ironman. I'm not a runner. I said earlier, I'm no runner. I'm doing what I want. Getting out there and kicking ass and taking names and having a blast. One of the things I've learned over the last year is positive affirmations. You know, there's a guy that runs the Contractor Fight, Tom Reber, and he gets up every day and says, I'm a magnet for money and success. And he believes it. He's a millionaire, by the way. And he has a whole list of other things that he talks about and that he says to himself in the morning, writes them down. They're in his book, you know. Do you guys journal? I started. Chicken scratch. Write stuff down. Don't steal this. Or anybody reading that stuff. But yeah, positive affirmations. Just give yourself some grace. You know, I mean, we're all figuring it out, right? I think it was, I don't know, maybe it was 10 or 15 years ago when I realized my parents are just normal people too. They're just 20 or so years ahead of you on the curve, right? Just trying to figure things out. They don't have it figured out, and neither do we. So when things get tough, when you're having a rough day, when your mindset's all over the place, you have overwhelm, and if you've got a tough job or run a business, you've felt this. One of the things that I find that helps is just take a positive action step. Sometimes I just call a timeout in the middle of the day, go for a run. Stop my truck on the boulevard and go walk it. Do something different. Help somebody. Have you thought of that? You get so self-absorbed. Everything's tough. Life sucks. This going on, that's going on. I don't know what I'm going to do. Find somebody and help them. Hey, what do you got going on there? Is there something I can do for you? How can I help you? How can I help you the most? Say those words to people, and all of a sudden, that stuff comes back to you tenfold. And make yourself a priority, right? So I've got a very stressful situation with business where really, I've got 5, like if I looked at the stress of it is, okay, I have to send a big check to Hancock Lumber every month. I got to make payroll. I got to make sure family's okay, pay all the bills. Make sure this business stays afloat, right? What's the first thing that goes out the window at about 9 o'clock every day? My workout. Gone. Right? You guys know, right? Who would show up for a mental toughness mindset talk, 25 pounds overweight? Right? Who cares? Who cares? Am I where I want to be? No. Can I take a positive action step every day to change that? Yeah. And I told you before, like, I mean, not being a jerk or anything, but I wouldn't put my sneakers on for a 3-mile run. Are you kidding me? We run 10 miles. I'm gonna go. My bike sits there because I'm not riding 100 miles. It sits there. Jared's after me all the time. Just get on a trainer. Just do a little. I don't want to. We ride 100 miles. So that's today, guys. That's this today. Struggling, but trying to make it work. But make yourself a priority because you've all heard that oxygen thing on the airplane. If you don't get yourself, you can't help it, blah, blah, blah. Get oxygen. Feed yourself. It's not selfish to say, I need to take care of me. I deal with got some new friends in the contractor group. Some of them time block. One guy, one tactic is, doesn't look at his cell phone. Not answering an email until his positive affirmations are done. He's worked out and he's done a couple of other things, eating right or whatever he's done. Boom, not till 8 a.m. every day. One guy blocks 10 to 2 for work stuff. 2 o'clock, he goes and rides his bike. Comes back at 3:30, 4 o'clock, and is rejuvenated for another few hours. So if you have that kind of flexibility in your life, use it. So don't hesitate to make yourself a priority. So back to visualization for a minute. I want to talk about that. So it's really putting yourself in the moment, all right? Like you see this, right? I see it happening. That's 2006 late class, first one, right? Already saw that happen. Every time I went running, every time I did 10 1-mile repeats that my coach made me do on the track in the rain, that was the moment that I was after. And I got it. Might not have got it. Things might not have gone well. But I could actually see it happening. Goosebumps. And let yourself feel what it would feel like to have it happen. Right? Beth, how many events have you competed in? Thousands? Right? I see you at everything. Everything. Oh, turn Facebook on. There's Beth. There's Beth. But, you see it happen. You've been there. You've done that. Oh, this is just like before. Or give yourself, you deserve to have a seat at the table, right? I had guys say when I signed up for that race, Turner's doing an Ironman? I remember their names. Oh, yeah, I do. I remember their names. They're not going to do an Ironman. Yeah, I am. I did it, signed up, and knocked it out. And at the time, I was 34 or 5, whatever, overweight, regular Joe, hadn't swam, didn't know anything about that kind of arena. So if you're thinking about doing something, taking on a big goal, throw it up on the board and do it. Ask yourself what you want for an outcome, I think that's in the White Mountains. Set a plan, reverse engineer it. I'm over here. Here's the goal. What do I have to do to get there? What would have to happen to get there? How am I going to get there? Most importantly, am I willing to adjust? Because it's not going to go the way you think it's going to go. Right? And if you go to the well and come up empty, come up dry, are you willing to try again? It's okay to win. It's okay to win. And when you do, don't say, oh, well, gee whiz, I'm terrible. That wasn't very good. Say thank you. Hey, you look great today. Thank you. Not, well, I don't like the way my hair came out. Don't be self-deprecating. Doesn't look good on you. Stand up, stand tall, walk around like this. Learned a lot about that in the last year. I like to do epic stuff. Hiking the mountains, epic stuff to me. Took off a couple years ago from my house at 3 a.m., made it to the White Mountains at 5. Jared can tell you the route. I went up, Madison, Jefferson, backside of Mount Washington, up over the top. Ate $26 worth of food at the top of the mountain. Some older woman was up there. She said, son, are you going to eat all that? Every bit of it, ma'am. The Coke too. Right? By myself. I went and did that by myself. And she said, well, how far are you hiking today? I said, I don't know. It's like 16 or 19 miles. Oh, my word. We took a bus up here. It's top of Mount Washington. I said, yeah, great, good. Back down over the trail, at my truck 12 hours later or whatever it was, and felt accomplished, Didn't share it with anybody. Would have liked to. But it was just something that I went and did on my own. So don't be afraid to go do something on your own that's kind of cool, kind of epic, That's my dad. It might look like I just failed, but that was after my best Ironman. Best hug ever. Don't be afraid to be transparent. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. It resonates with people. Okay? Whether it's somebody you're talking with at work, whether it's your parent, whether it's your dad that's not a hugger. Not a hugger. I make sure I hug him too. Piss him off. No, it doesn't. But yeah, he was right there. And he knew I needed that at that moment. And that was pretty cool. So when I was thinking about this talk, I was trying to come up with this mantra, this theme, and what I came up with is what would have to happen. And I wanted to make sure, like anytime I've ever gone to something like this, I've tried to come away with a nugget or two. Something that when I'm driving away, that was pretty cool, or that was interesting perspective on that. So I would ask you, what would have to happen if there's something that you're thinking about doing right now, something that you missed out on doing, or you're like, hey, I'm getting a little older, I haven't done this. Maybe it's skydiving. I don't know. You want to jump out of a perfectly good airplane. What would have to happen for you to do that? You have to sign up, find somebody to do it with, and just do it. You know? Mental toughness and mindset are diminishing skills. It's like sales. Anybody in sales? If you don't work on your chops, you know, I try to play the guitar. If I don't work on it, I'm terrible. Bailey says it sounds okay till I start singing. Put yourself in tough situations. Take the hard way. There's two ways you can do something. Take the hard way. How's it going to feel when you win doing it the hard way? Versus, well, we'll just scoot over here and take the easy path. Take the stairs. I was in a hotel all last week. Took the stairs a bunch. I was on the 10th floor. So it's about 6 floors up. This wasn't a good idea. Everybody knows somebody successful, right? Have you ever talked with somebody and had them say, oh, just showed up. It's great. It's easy, right? Go find somebody successful and say, you know, I'll use Erin for an example. Look at this place. You think this was a walk in the park? Probably permitting. She's over there. This is my dream. Is it going to happen? How many times probably did you think it was probably not going to happen, right?
Every day, Bob.
Right. I walked in here when this place was nothing but drywall, and I'm like, wow, it's happening, you know? But it's not just a straight trajectory to the top. And I asked her when we started today, how'd year one go? She said, very well, you know? So it doesn't mean just because you show up and throw something like this up, it's going to be wildly successful. You have to show up and work every day. It's not sexy. Embrace the suck, right? Sometimes it just sucks. Like all last week sucked. Dealt with work stuff, guys not getting along, bills to pay, jobs to quote. Do you have my quote yet? No, I don't. I know I told you I'd get back to you, and I've been late. So try to get back to people. But, you know, what would have to happen? Take a minute and think about something that you would like to do in your life that you haven't done, a person you'd like to talk to that you haven't talked with. Maybe it's a relationship in your family that has gone south, and all it would take would be, you know what? I'd just like to get together and talk. Or call somebody and say, hey, I was thinking about you today. Just wanted to call. Just want to check in with you. I got one of those messages from a friend of mine the other day. Hey, you came to mind today. Just thought I'd check in with you. How you doing? You know, they call them in the contractor group intentional touches or something like that. UIT, something intentional touches, where you're just reaching out to people that you don't know what kind of difference you might make. They might be right on the edge of closing their business or saying, I'm not going to go for that run. Hey, Bob called me, asking me how I'm doing. I guess I'm going to go for a run. That was really uplifting, you know? So anyway, that's me at the top of my favorite place in Maine. Try to get up there every year. This year it's not going to happen, but last year, October 11th, I went up with a friend of mine, and we had a blast. So, yeah, that's about all I got for you guys today. I just wanted to try to share that. I hope I was able to convey some things about mindset, toughness, not bore you with too many Ironman stories, and be a little bit transparent and vulnerable, and resonate with you guys, and give you something that you can go away from here with and say, you know what, I'm glad I went today. If I hadn't, I wouldn't have heard that. I wouldn't have met those guys and been where I'm at. So anyway, thank you. Do you have any questions? Jared. Total plant, by the way. Total plant. You had a question.
Yeah. Would you ever do another Ironman again? And if you did one, if you knew you couldn't compete at the level that you did before, would you still do it? And what would get you?
Yes. Yes, I would. And actually I did, because it was in 2009, 2017, I tried to qualify for the Boston Marathon. Run. So I jettisoned biking and swimming. Big mistake, because the cross training always kept me healthy. Jared will tell you that. Run. Went out, ran the, I don't know what it was, down at UNE, that marathon. Did a 3:29, and it was 4 minutes too slow. They had sent us the wrong way. It could have been a story for today, too. They sent us the wrong way. Anyway, I didn't qualify. Went to Orono 3 weeks later. Great idea, run another marathon. Wheels came off in the second loop. So 3:36. But my foot kept hurting and hurting and hurting. And it kept hurting over 2017, 18. Into 19, I signed up for an Ironman. And the foot wasn't resolved yet. And I wasn't, usually I'll race at like 170, 175. And I was like 185, 190. I'm like, oh, this guy sucks. But I had signed up, and people are watching. So that was a commitment I made, and I didn't want to not come off that. So I went, and I knew it was going to be a tough run. I knew I wasn't going to be able to run 26 miles. I knew I could swim, bike, no problem. Off on the run I went, and I made it 14 miles before I had to start walking. I've never walked a step in a race or training, ever. Like, there's one picture I want to come back to, I forgot to tell you. So yes, I would. Maybe I will. It does punch a huge hole in your life. And it made me think about that. It punches a huge hole in your life, your business, your family, all that stuff. It really, it's a huge hole. These guys will tell you. So I would, but it would have to be the right kind of situation. Right now, I don't want to ride my bike 100 miles on the weekend. I just don't. I got other stuff I want to do. I want to go to camp. I want to fly out to Dallas and see Bailey. I just, if I get so I want to do it, I will. What I've always found with triathlon is that if I wasn't feeling it, I step away for a week or two and it would come back. I always come back. Like, I gotta go, ready to go. Don't feel that right now. Maybe it's being 53. I don't know. But yeah, I would. I want to talked about this for a quick. I kind of went through this. Take a look at that picture. There's a hill in Lake Placid. And when I said we don't walk, it made me think of it. I did a little social media post on this a while back. It was called Run the Hill. There's a hill. It comes into town. There's a subway there. It's a nasty hill, right? And you got to run it twice. You got to go out of town, back again. So even though I was just, chugging up the hill, it wasn't walking. So I come up upon this guy, and I looked at this picture like last year, and I'm looking at this guy going, dude, you're an Ironman. Look at him. And I'm picking on him a little bit, right? But what's his mindset right there? You got family there? You got people watching you? Like, who are you even accountable to? Jared was there. I was probably looking at him and his wife. His new wife was there. She had never seen an Ironman before, never seen me compete. I was going to show her what was going on that day. And we did, didn't we? Yeah, that was my best race. But I refused to walk the hill. It's like take the stairs, whatever. It was more for me than anyone else because I needed to know that I came through town. That's where my family was. That's where all the people were that are watching, And if you ever saw me race, if my hat's on backwards, and that's a visor actually on backwards and upside down or something, if I come through town and the hat's on backwards, it's game on. We're going to finish this thing and we're going to go hard. So that was one thing I forgot to share with you during the talk, but yeah, pretty cool. Like staying mentally tough all day at an all-day event like that is really hard because things wear on you. If you get hungry, then all of a sudden you're not thinking straight, but constantly taking stock of where you're at. And again, all of that stuff relates to life and business, okay? It's like, how am I doing today? I don't know. I don't know how I'm doing, You ever just take 10 minutes and sit in a day? Just chill out, relax, breathe, Really, though. I had a few times recently, because I've been just struggling with fatigue and all that really badly. But a couple times in the last couple months, it's 9:30 in the morning. I work at home. I'm on the laptop, hammering, getting the guys here, doing that. 9:30 in the morning, couch, slept for an hour. Went back at 2 o'clock, slept another hour. But that's what I needed right then. I worked a little bit that night to make up for it. But things can get out ahead of you. And if it just keeps, I'm that guy like, hey, you got a problem, throw it on the pile. Throw it on. You can do, hop in. We'll go. I got this. But eventually the trailer gets full and you get slowed down and you got to deal with it. So, Yeah, I mean, I could talk all day about mindset. Any other questions? Aaron, thank you.
Bob, it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like in kind of this big picture that you're explaining to us that mental mindset and perspective is an active participation
Yeah.
requirement. So I feel like we can be in two camps. We can be in the passive thing where life is happening to us and we're kind of just getting swallowed up by it, or we can be in the other camp where we are taking a minute, set aside, doing some positive affirmations, making one action step, making something that's manageable. Being like, yep, I'm having a shit day here, but I can make one change. I can help somebody today that's going to change the trajectory of the day. Or I feel like crap. There's one thing I can do today that will make me feel a little bit better. It's an action step and it takes work. And sometimes I think in our culture, based on what you were saying earlier, we're overwhelmed, we're tired, and all these things. But what's one thing that we can make an action plan for ourselves that's going to improve my life and then ultimately improve those around me?
How can I move the needle?
How can I move the needle?
Right? That's it.
It's manageable. Like,
Sometimes it's like, I just need a box to check. I turned my phone off, but I'm working from a to-do list because I have to. Check. Feels good to check. But self-awareness, right? Like, oh, man, what's going on here? I'm totally overwhelmed. Break it down. What's the next? Like, for me, there's 4 things I focus on in business every morning. Clear my email. 0 email, right? To-do list. Update the to-do list, and that's part of the email. Who owes me money? Who do I owe money? Like, are there any 4 important things that I have? That's like, if I don't get those right first thing in the morning, the rest of the day is out to lunch, The other thing I would mention is what you talked about is there's different mindset. Like, you could be a victim, right? I think in every story, now this is getting out, there's a book I read. There's a victim, a villain, a hero, and a guide, right? I can't remember what book that was, but what do you want to be? Which one are you being? You can be a different one in the same day, right? You could walk in here and go, oh, geez, kids were a bitch. Kids were tough this morning. All of a sudden, somebody sees you that you've helped out. Hey, Aaron. Oh, hey, how you doing? Now you're the hero, right? But decide how you show up for people, right? And that's really what I'm looking at, too, is like, it matters. Like, a lot of people are looking at you, whether you think they are or not, for guidance, for support, for love, whatever. If you're in their life, they need something from you, and how are you giving it to them? So if you don't have a strong mindset, you're not able to show up well, The other thing about mindset, too, a couple different mindsets. Scarcity mindset, right? An abundance mindset, right? Like, what if a great PT came in here, better than you? How would you respond? You hired him. Would you say, well, no? You'd be like, great, fantastic, right? Abundance is knowledge for everyone. You can learn from that person, whatever. It's just an example. But yeah, there's a ton you can do with it. A great book that I read recently by this guy, The Power of One More by Ed Mylett. Okay, pick this up and read it. It's good. Talks a lot about his dad. His dad was an alcoholic. Got sober for 35 years. And he said to him one day, he said, Dad, how are you going to stay sober for the rest of your life? He said, I'm not. I'm going to stay sober for one more day. One more day. So it's called The Power of One More. I'm not a big reader, but I read that. It's more audio for me. My high school math didn't work. So, Stacy.
I have one thing to say, and you all may have heard this, but it was actually John Rooks who said this, a CrossFit coach, someone who I really, really admire a ton. And he said to me, you're either going to win or learn.
Thank you.
And I thought that was like, I said that to my kids.
You're going to win or learn? Is that what you said?
You're going to win or you're going to learn.
Yeah.
That's it. And
Right.
For some reason, that was like, in that moment, it just has stuck with me for,
Yeah.
it's like, it just felt like a really nice perspective to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It was just like, powerful. Yeah, super powerful.
Yeah. Yep. It's funny, when I coached Bailey's basketball team when she was little, I said, guys, I don't know who coached you last year, but this year we're going to play to win. Right? Well, I'm going to teach you how to lose too, lose well, and be a good sport, but we're playing to win. Not everybody's going to get a trophy. Not everybody gets a trophy in life, and I don't want to get going on all that, but yeah, and it's okay to win. you know, and I don't think that for some reason I had this block that, it's not okay to win, or I'm better at, being second, Screw that. Those days are over. So, anything else? Questions? Question from the cameraman?
Yeah. So my biggest challenge every day pretty much is getting out of bed. Sometimes I feel like I have too much work on my plate, and I feel like if I lay a little bit longer, it'll just go away, and I just keep pushing off the problems. What would be your, mindset in getting out of bed?
Well, first thing is they don't go away, right? They're just over here, still there. Then they grow, and they bring some of their friends, right? And that pile gets bigger, and sometimes when you attack it, it's not as big as you thought it was, right? Get to bed early, get some good sleep. How are you sleeping? Do you have a sleep app? Check that. Maybe you're not sleeping well. Are you waking up to an alarm or just waking up?
Alarm.
Yeah. You work for yourself. Maybe you jettison the alarm and see what time you wake up, okay?
6:30.
Yeah, the other thing too, and none of us probably do it, but take that cell phone from after 7 p.m. and it does not do us any good, right? It's like, check the count. First thing I do, roll over, Google Calendar. Where am I supposed to be anywhere at 8? Who did I forget today, right? And it just starts going, I look at my phone before, I was texting the other day. Guys calling me, brushing my teeth. I'm like, God, what am I doing? So, so I tell the guys, talk to me after 8. Give me from 6 to 8, to get going. But you're probably you're burning the candle at both ends, overwhelmed. So make a list, right? And that helped me too, is I made a to-do list. Because then it was offloaded, right? One guy I know from the contractor group did a brain dump. He took a big piece of white paper in his office, wrote down everything in his mind. It's a mess. Wrote it all down. Whew, it felt good. Now it's over there, right? It's not up here. And then from there you can start, and that's what I do with my email. Like, junk, unsubscribe, deal with that, to-do list. It feels good, and it gets it out here. You can only, me especially, I can only put so much up there. It's only so much room. So, what time do you go to bed?
9 o'clock.
Really?
I sleep too much. It's like one of those things.
What do you get for exercise?
Every day.
Gym? Eat well?
Eat well. A lot of caffeine. A lot of caffeine.
Maybe there's some low-hanging fruit there.
Yeah. Right. Maybe cut it down to 1 cup.
I think stress levels too.
Or-
I'll
yeah.
get my email at 9 o'clock at night for no reason.
Right. And there's nothing, Mitchell runs his own company, a production company, and that's stressful. That's a lot, So try to do some things that get you some oxygen, and give yourself some grace. You're doing all right, kid. Yeah. Really. He walked away from his accounting job at 24 and started this company. He was my first podcast customer, client, friend, guest. And he walked in one day and said, Mitchell, we're doing a podcast today. I said, who? What? I said, you're on. So put it in front of the camera, and off we went. So I do have a podcast. I told you about it. It's Ordinary People Doing Extraordinary Things. If you know somebody that you think would be a great guest, let me know. I'd love to get them on. But yeah, anybody else have any questions? Thanks for coming, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.